The human brain is the most complex and mysterious organ in our body. It's responsible for our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and it's been a topic of fascination for scientists and philosophers for centuries. One of the most intriguing questions about the brain is how many neurons it contains. In this article, we'll explore the answer to this question and delve into the fascinating world of neuroscience. Firstly, let's define what a neuron is. Neurons are specialized cells that transmit electrical and chemical signals throughout the body. They come in different shapes and sizes, but they all have a similar structure. A neuron consists of a cell body, dendrites, and an axon. The cell body contains the nucleus and other organelles, while the dendrites are branching extensions that receive signals from other neurons. The axon is a long, thin projection that transmits signals to other neurons or target cells. Now that we know what a neuron is, let's talk about how many there are in the human brain. The exact number has been a subject of debate for many years, as it's not an easy number to determine. However, recent studies have provided us with a more accurate estimate. According to a study published in the journal Cerebral Cortex in 2018, the human brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons. This number was calculated using a technique called neuroimaging, which involves scanning the brain and measuring its volume. The researchers then used mathematical models to estimate the number of neurons based on the known volume of the brain and the size of individual neurons. This number is significantly higher than previous estimates, which ranged from 60 billion to 100 billion neurons. The reason for this discrepancy is that earlier estimates were based on outdated methods, such as dissecting brains and counting individual neurons under a microscope. These methods were time-consuming and inaccurate, as they only provided estimates for small regions of the brain. The discovery that there are 86 billion neurons in the human brain has major implications for our understanding of neuroscience. It highlights the incredible complexity and sophistication of the human brain, which allows us to perform tasks such as learning, memory, and decision-making. It also raises new questions about how these neurons are connected and communicate with each other. One of the most fascinating aspects of neuroscience is how neurons communicate with each other through electrical and chemical signals. These signals travel along axons and dendrites, allowing neurons to transmit information rapidly and accurately. The process by which neurons communicate with each other is called synaptic transmission, and it's essential for all aspects of brain function. Synaptic transmission involves several steps, including neurotransmitter release, receptor binding, ion channel opening, and signal propagation. Neurotransmitters are chemicals that are released by one neuron into the synaptic cleft, the narrow gap between two neurons. These neurotransmitters bind to receptors on neighboring neurons, causing ion channels to open and allowing ions, such as sodium or potassium, to flow into or out of the cell. This flow of ions generates an electrical signal that propagates along the axon and dendrites of the receiving neuron. The process of synaptic transmission is incredibly complex and dynamic, involving multiple steps and feedback mechanisms. It's also highly adaptable, allowing neurons to adjust their connections and communication patterns in response to changing environmental conditions or learning experiences. This adaptability is what allows us to learn new skills, remember important information, and adapt to new situations throughout our lives. In addition to synaptic transmission, another important aspect of neuroscience is neuralplasticity. Neuralplasticity refers to the ability of the brain to change and adapt in response to experience or injury. This plasticity allows us to learn new skills, remember important information, and recover from injuries or diseases that affect neural function. It also highlights the importance of early intervention in neurological disorders such as Alzheimer's disease or stroke, as these disorders can disrupt neural plasticity and lead to irreversible damage. Neural plasticity involves several mechanisms at different levels of neural organization, including synaptic plasticity, the ability of synapses to strengthen or weaken in response to activity, gene expression, the ability of genes to be turned on or off in response to activity, and neural circuit reorganization, the ability of neural circuits to change their structure and function in response to activity. These mechanisms allow us to adapt our neural networks to new experiences or challenges throughout our lives. In conclusion, understanding how many neurons are in the human brain is essential for advancing our knowledge of neuroscience and improving our understanding of neurological disorders such as Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease. The discovery that there are approximately 86 billion neurons in the human brain highlights its incredible complexity and sophistication, while also raising new questions about how these neurons are connected and communicate with each other. By studying synaptic transmission, neural-plasticity, and other aspects of neuroscience at different levels of neural organization, we can gain insights into how these processes contribute to normal brain function as well as neurological disorders.